Hello everyone, we are back. NPL has kicked off its second phase 2, week 1, game 1, coming your way in just a second. For those of you guys wondering what the software or the program that I'm using for all this stuff is, it is a program by Other Productions. You can find the link to the description. You can find the link in the description in the section below if you're watching on YouTube, or if not, you can do all the comments and you'll find it on the Twitch chat. I'll be doing all of NPL, that's the plan, and I'll be doing all of PEL this phase, and then we'll see if I'm gonna be doing PKL or if I'm gonna be doing some other stuff. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. You can follow on Twitter and all those things if you wanna get any info on that. But let's get straight into game number 1. Plains in Sky will hide the kill feed real quick. No reason for us to look at that. And military circle. What a refreshing way to start off the to start off. I mean, think about it this way. All these teams, they have been, I mean, there's been a break, obviously. Some of the teams got to play in London, and some of them got to do other things. But starting off with a military circle like that, that's rough. We'll see here. Let's take a look at where people loot. Just to look up things. We got Denial looting around here. We got Wildcard, nothing new there. Player One Esports, they're doing their usual split. Then we have Picadorus and Envy. Envy is looting farm now. I mean, it was a southern plane, so I guess I didn't feel like driving all the way anywhere else. But I guess Envy is looting farm now. They have always been the Yasnaya team. But of course, there's been a lot of changes. So with team changes, normally comes loot changes as well. Cloud9, my boys, looting up in Pochinki. This time around, they're not being contested, so that's good. Then you have Rum out on the east side. You have Ghost Gaming, GG, in Milta United, they're doing their east side split. SSG probably looking to go all the way north. Endemic, South George. BMG in North George. Pretty straightforward. Only surprise here is that we have the we can see all the knocks coming in here as well. 2 teams looting, not even farm, but 2 teams looting west of farm. That's interesting. And now let's see, as we see, the teams will just slow it down a bit. So in a circle that's eastern like this, you'd think, oh, this bridge is inside the circle, let's just go for that one. But more often than not, you'd, at least usually, see if you are to push over a bridge, you'd see teams go for this one. And of course, all these teams, they've been prepping themselves according to what lobby they're in. So they know that Player One Esports are here. They know that Wildcard loot around Prim and the Ferry Pier area. Depending on how much room Player One Esports give them and vice versa, they can kind of shuffle the line here back and forward as they please. I can move around so you get more room. You got a team all the way over already, and then you know that you have Ghost Gaming inside Milta. So what bridge would you want to go for? You have 2 teams fighting West Bridge. You have 1 team sitting, I mean, they could be sitting on East Bridge. And then, of course, you have boats to get around or across as well. We'll see what these Americans decide to do. How they decide to maneuver around. Rum, they go for boat instantly. Makes perfect sense. There's pretty much no way it's not going to go military. Even though we have land up here, there's a very little to no chance that it's gonna sit on that side. Ghost cross the bridge pretty late, right? No, they go rather early, actually. They'll go early, and then it's different what they do once they get across. I don't remember seeing them holding the bridge very often, but they do cross as soon as they're looted. That's just, I mean, that's the RNG of Milta, I guess. Sometimes you get what you want and sometimes you don't. It also depends on where on the island the circle is. Like if it was out here, it would have been a different ball game. So everyone maneuvering around this side. Lazarus, they take the boat down by the cliffs. United already across. We see Denial and BMG, they're fighting on the shore. Wildcard, they're actually going back around. Look at this. I just said there was no way it could go back, and I guess I was lying. Huh. Is the circle center there? I guess it's here? There is a saying that the circle center has to be on land. The center circle of the center point of the circle cannot be in water. And I guess if we kind of draw up the middle, there, 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 it's somewhere around there. So I guess it technically is on land. Huh. I stand corrected. And now it can go both sides. Now it can not. No. It's the whole water exclusion thing. That is circle 4 and circle 8. But every circle, no matter the circle, the center dot has to be on land. Like the center point of the circle has to be on land, no matter where it is. So, okay, let's just rewind a little bit. How many teams actually made it across? 1 in player 1E. Ghost made it over. Rum came in, and they even beached the boats. Wildcard came over. Wildcard didn't beach their boats, though. Smart play. Cloud9 drove over. BMG came over. And now the circle went back. Okay, so boom, here we go. Picadorus, 2 players alive, still up there. SSG, they were about to cross, but I guess Bahawaga, he got lucky in staying in his vehicle. Endemic, they were on their way down, but they're like, nope, let's go back where we came from. So we have, and then Denial, they never got to cross. They were just lucky that they didn't have to. I mean, again, we still don't know which side it's gonna go to. Now it could go to both sides. So interesting game. You always have to watch out with overcommitting. That's the thing I see a lot. And I mean, this is a very, very rare coincidence to have a circle like this. But you always have to watch out with overcommitting. So, oh no, it's gonna go there. You send everyone across. Oh no, it's gonna go there. You swarm everyone around on the other side again. Is that center on land in Publix too? I think so. I'm pretty sure that's just PUBG. I mean, standard settings, everything. That the dot center point. We try to draw it up, I know this is not at all the center, but we kind of. I mean, when you have the center of the circle, right? That center area has to be on land. I'm pretty sure it because if not, then you could have a circle that looked like this, technically. I mean, there would be no saying in what kind of weird shit could happen if the circle could be in the water. You could have a circle look like this. And then people would just be swimming. So I think that's why they kept that rule. I mean, you could still have a circle that sits down here with its dot here, and then it goes something like this, but the center point has to be on land. Everyone's gonna rotate back. It's only circle 2, so it's not that they're in that much of a hurry. Bridge is being contested, of course. Cloud9 tried to send one over. Profi is all by himself on the other side. Circle does go back. Wow. That is a that's a rare coincidence, but well, now we know that it happens. So that's also one of those things where if you're a competitive player, I don't know. I mean, I guess I do know why, because everybody wants to get the upper hand, right? All the in-game leaders, all the players, they want to be one step ahead of their opponents at all times. Makes perfect sense. It puts you up for a better chance to win the game. But I mean, sometimes people just get a little too, not greedy, but desperate to try to find the edge. And then they'll start doing, oh, you remember that thing 2 weeks ago where the circle shifted that way? This is kind of a similar circle, so we'll just bet everything on it happening again. And then it doesn't. So even though this happens once, I don't hope to see, like next time we see a circle similar, to have like all the NPL players sit up here because it happened in the last day, so it will happen here again. I mean, this is just chaos. All these teams, they have to make their way across. This circle was, I mean, even I didn't believe that it was gonna cross over. So all the people that took boats here, they have beached them, which means that they're running around here. They don't have cars because, well, I mean, there are no cars there anymore. The people already took them. There are no cars there. You have no boats available because you beached them. And it's just, I mean, it's just a really, really rough position to be in, to say the least. Really, really rough. And when you have to cross back, you have the forest, but as you can see up here, you have the entire area here, the open field, 4-shack field, I like to call it, because you have 4 shacks right here. 4-shack field, you have there, or just 4-shack up there. It's really tough to sort of maneuver around in. So not exactly a optimal area to be in. Basher and Lamp there in the water, and Rum there on the other side, trying to figure out how the hell they're gonna get across. They're just gonna crash their vehicles down. Again, it's only circle 3, I believe. No, it's 4. There you go. Yeah, it is. So circle's gonna cross on over. Now it's when the circle is gonna start not killing you, but doing quite a bit more damage. All these people have to maneuver over. Interesting that... Okay, so... Oh, I guess they all just died in the water. Huh. I was gonna say interesting that Player One Esports left without just taking a bit of blue to harvest some more kills. It's the same point system as phase 1, so they know that that it's gonna be quite kill heavy. And then, I mean, everything considered, Picadors, they were fighting Envy extremely early on in the game and lost 2 players. I believe Envy lost 1. And they're now sitting still next to each other, and Picadors have the only compound. So that's a pretty fortunate situation for them, I guess you could say. Pretty damn lucky. You have the field going up here, and it's extremely tough to play around. I mean, if your team's sitting in the south, you cannot move around a lot, because once you start engaging teams here, because of the hills and the formation that you have, I mean, there's... Okay, so it is steeper here. You might actually be able to fight 2v2 up here without being confronted by anyone in the open. But at the same time, the people in the open, they cannot start fighting each other too much, because if there isn't a fight going on up here, they're gonna have so much vision out in this direction, and you don't want to fight in these fields, especially if you can avoid it. I mean, you just do not want to fight in out there at all. Of course, you're gonna be forced to from time to time. And it's so tricky, because the only thing that really fucks you as a, what do you call it? As a team in the open is people with high ground. And this circle in particular, I mean, whatever of these 2 teams wins the fight up here, Denial or Player One Esports, they will be able to see everything down here. Even with the foliage distance being too high, sometimes you can be helped by the guy having to look at the foliage right in front of him. So that's gonna make it hard to see you if you're sort of even height. But if you have one guy that's sitting just a bit above, that is just you on a completely flat surface, and there's nothing you can do to hide it out. So whatever teams win this one, or whatever team wins this one, I mean, they had to fight at some point, right? Will be able to sit up here in the forest and just have all the ankles on the guys down here. It's funny how none of them really want to commit to it. I mean, at least looking here, sure, there are smokes and nades and things going back and forth, but seems like no one really dares to full on commit to what's going on here. Everyone's fighting. Moody drives up. They're trying to... I'm not sure why they were crashing into then leave. Circle goes south once again, so Denial and Player One Esports get the one shifted towards them. Denial has to win this one. Yeah. So Denial takes the win in game 1. They had a really good position. I mean, they were far south. They were. Let's see how Denial played this one. They were the team that never had to cross. They came in super late. They were looting far north. Oh no, they were the ones that split it. Okay, so they split ruins and water. They loot here with Soapy down here. Circle goes south, and they just get beat. You can see they're trying to go for vehicles, and they just get beat to it by everyone. So they have to take time. They don't get any boats. BMG actually, they surpass them. You can see right here up by the compound. BMG surpasses them. They get the boat, and they get completely obliterated when they go across. And then Circle shifts back. They get to chill for a while. They get some kills early. Once it crosses the road, they get to cross too, because there's no one up there yet. And no one really dared to take the forest position. You can see there's still room enough that everyone can play around. Actually, it's surprising to me that nobody takes the center position here. Everyone's hugging the edges. SSG can't cross because they can't scout this compound. And they also... I mean, they can look over here and see that there are people there, so they don't want to cross. Wildcard don't want to move because there's a chance they'll get it. And Demic, there's no way in hell the game is ending out here. They could have gone underneath, but they probably know that Wildcard is there, so they can't figure out how they can maneuver around. P1E, they don't want to move yet because they want to hold off people on the backside. And I guess that just means that, I mean, the only team that could really reposition would be Envy. They could push further down this way. But there's not really a reason for them to do that, because they're sitting pretty well in the dip up here, because they know that there's no one coming from up there. So, yeah. Interesting. I wonder why SSG rotated back all the way north, even into the blue for no reason after the swimmers came back. Let's rewind. So SSG, they rotated really late, and they came in late. You can see they're about to swim over. And then when the circle pops, Baja is like, oh, well, boys, I guess we're not doing that. And he drove up early to try and scout forward to get some sort of information. When he's stopping here, he hears, I would assume, Agila and the vehicles down there. So now he's coming back to pick up his teammates. They're getting shot at by Simplicity. Fortunately, Envy didn't shoot at them. But now they have to run all of a sudden. Alternatively, 4 guys, 1 vehicle. That's a big yikes. And then when they tried to push in, because they had scouted this already and it was free, and they probably wanted to go down there, but since Envy surpassed them, they can't just go down. They have to go all the way over because Envy took their position, right? They have to rotate all the way north around. There's nothing else they can do. They find themselves another vehicle. There's just not a whole lot more you can do. You have to go all the way around. Lasarius comes in from behind. It's just like a combination of rough circles for them that you can't really do a whole lot about. I mean, they should have fought Envy down here. That would have been chaos. But it was just them getting surpassed by everyone because it took too long for the guys to swim on back. Yeah, Valid, he's far off. I'm not sure. Maybe there was a crate up there. I don't know. Many things. Maybe they knew that someone had died up there earlier. Could be that he spotted that crate. I mean, look at the way he's driving, right? We don't get to see crates on this. So it could be that he spotted the crate because he stops there. And then he drives back down. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what the reason for him being up there is. But could be that he spotted the crate up there. But that was game 1. That was a game number 1 of day number 1. And then we'll do this real quick. Boink. And then we can head on over to game 2. No, Valiant played it smart. He didn't drive back to the compound. He drove around to the side and came over here to secure the position in the circle. That made perfect sense. Now we're going over to Miramar for game number 2. So first game, interesting plane and also interesting, I guess, circle shifts. Not something you see too often. Here, game number 2. Let's see what we get. Again, this is the first game of the phase. This is the first Miramar game of the phase. So for some of these teams, they might be landing on top of each other, trying to contest for stuff. And you can see both SSG and EXG in. I don't know why that little Ma all of a sudden is so good. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You have easy edge rotations or shoreline rotations, I guess we can call them. But interesting that 2 teams late drop for Vale when there's so much available. I mean, it was a plane that pretty much cut the map in half. We have... Yeah, I don't know. They're looking real quickly at some of the rotations. I mean, Tempo Storm doing their thing, nothing new there. Ghost Gaming there and Minas, not a whole lot of new there either. I'm just sitting and looking for anything that's way out in the ordinary. Where people were forced to play Vikendi. Oh, not in squad games, host. Not in squads. There was a tournament where they played Sanok. The OGN Summer something. I forgot the name. Or whatever the name was. But that was a weird tournament with a weird point system. A lot of things were weird about that tournament. Cloud9 looting up in Picado. They didn't want to go back to Monte Nuevo, even though I told them to go there. That's fine. And teams are making their way further down south. Envy, they're obviously coming in as one of the last teams. They went far up north to get looted. SSG, they're sitting 3 guys in the South Island. Believe in that southern hard shift. It could happen. You never know. We saw a weird circle in the previous game. So this area of the map, for those of you guys who don't know, I mean, of course you have Los Leones. That's going to force you to drive either down and around or up and above, because you don't want to, I mean, you never really want to go through cities if you can avoid it. You want to go around instead. So teams are going to be coming in from the south side and then sort of pushing up from down here. There's so many open areas down here. This entire hillside is pretty damn open. And you get like a really good overview in all the different directions. Then you have the church area, the entire Chumacera area is pretty fun to play around. Church is this compound alone, if you're 4 guys live, is extremely valuable. Like a really, really good spot to sit in. Let's see. Circle 2 pups, and we go to Lords Las Leones. Interesting. Now the circle is not far on either edge, so you wouldn't expect anyone to hard wrap anywhere. But we do have the city taking up, let's say, realistically, we should have like a percentage counter. That could be funny. So we draw up this, right? Oh, actually, I guess it goes more like this. It's a pretty big chunk of the circle. Pretty big piece of the circle being a city that nobody really wants to play around. And especially considering if you look at the map as a whole, if we split it here in the middle, kind of, look at how many people on the east side and how many people on the west side. Los Leones is the kind of place you can go to as sort of a last resort thing. It's a big city. Odds are you will get a house or 2 or 10 that nobody else is in, that you can chill in until the circle inevitably shifts away from you. And that's all good and fun. But if you can't get there, then it becomes an issue, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and a half teams on the west side of the circle. And they're all being held off by P1E. I guess not P1E, they're still rotating into the city. But looking where Lambalot is, they're probably going for the concretes down here. You have Ghost Gaming there, you have BMG up here. This is like the 3-team fortification that's going to say nope to anyone out here on the west side trying to go either underneath and wrap in or go up and above to wrap into the city. Let's look at this, how they drive on in. This is a fun split they're doing. Treats and Lambalot, they're all by themselves, and now their help is coming in. But is it too late? I don't know. So Los Leones is still not really taken by anyone because these teams are kind of gating the entrance to the city. You can see, unless if you're Pecadores coming in super late and going all the way around the north, there's not really entry point to the city anywhere. I was gonna say, so if this circle goes center out into Los Leones, that's gonna be really, really tough. But it did, fortunately. SSG, they came in somewhat late, and this time around they get themselves the circle. Good spot. Nice scouting too. Look at the way they're playing is. Look at the way SSG is playing. They know they're late, they know they're beat to it, but they're driving in. Baja, Hilltop, scout forward. Goes to the next position. Him and J-Sank, they're the front runners, right? Go down, boom, Hilltop, scout forward. I don't know if you guys remember, but I drew up a map both on Erankle and Miramar, where I put like circles on a lot of different things, and those are the spots you want to know. Like, how can you, if you're here, what can you spot? How can you scout further forward? So they come all the way underneath, scout. This is clear. This is clear. Boom, boom. Send one further. Boom. Take the compound. It's not center, obviously, but you're center enough that there's a good chance that you'll be inside the next circle to some extent. So, so smart play, and now they get to sit bank center. I would assume Baha to go over to them, and he does. Really smart play. Where can you find them? I think I actually have one of them, what do you say, pinned or like thumbnailed on my Twitter right now, like the Erankle one. And I think the Miramar one is tagged in that one. So so it should be like the first thing you see on my Twitter page. But it's good to know. I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, but we don't know Miramar so well, and you can't know it." Of course you can. If someone can know Stalber inside out, then the same guy can know Miramar. There's a lot more, but you're a pro player. You're supposed to know these things. I'm not saying that everyone has to know every single little corner, but I feel like there's still a lot of knowledge not gone missing, but not having been taken yet, I guess. Look at the position that SSG is in. They don't move anywhere because they know, look at this. Even if it had hard shifted like way out here, they would still have been in on the edge. It would probably have cut somewhere here, right? So they would still be, and they know that no matter where this circle goes, and that's the benefit you get. That's what you get for going center in circle 3 and circle 4. Once that 5th circle hits, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in no matter what. With the size of it compared to the previous circle and all, if you're sitting on the dot in the middle of the previous circle, you're pretty much in no matter what. And then you would have to get double hard shifted away from in order to not be in on the next one. Yeah, exactly, Kobe. You have to, you need to know, man. You need to know those things. Envy, they clean up Endemic on the edge. They have now the hilltop, but they need to move further forward, and there's not a whole lot to take. And they're on foot too. That's going to be a hard position, a hard rotation. All these teams are, wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 teams trying to fight it out in the warehouses. Wildcard pushing underneath. I like that they don't over aggro on this side. United gets to go center. Cloud9, all the boys in one vehicle. That's scary. Laserius come up right next to them. They're all like, they're in a dip now. This is like, for those of you guys who don't know, there's like a little bit of a dip down here that that they're sitting in. Oh, I guess it's not that much of a dip. It's more of an uphill on this side. It's kind of plateaued. Someone's knocking on my door. Be right back. What is it with me and getting packages that I don't know what are when I'm doing analysis videos? What the fuck? I got like a huge box here and I do not know what it is. Oh, okay, I do know what it is. This is nice. We'll open it after. Now I know what it is. That's interesting. Probably a bomb. Don't even say that, Horst. That's like next level swatting. We just sent him a bomb instead. One of the players, he didn't like my comments about him, and now he sent me. Open it. No, we'll do it after. We'll do it after the 4 games here, because it's part of the YouTube video. No one have to sit and edit it too much. I kind of just like to put them up as they are. We'll open them after game 4. This position, I mean, this area is rough to play. And again, every single, and this is what I talked to Cloud9 about this a lot when we were in London. The whole, like, we talked about how nobody knows all of Miramar. I think you can be pretty honest and say that. I feel like I know it pretty well. There are for sure a lot of players that know it better than me, but I have taken a lot of time in figuring out the map and like knowing all the dips and all that stuff. Especially knowing that I had to work with Cloud9, I wanted to be able to help them as much as I could. But in areas like these, I mean, when you see this on the map and you're like, okay, just outside of Los Leones, if you're sitting up here with barely any cover, and one guy on the team can tell you, boys, over here, that's where the dip is. You know, that's where the dip is. Imagine if you play the entire game from this position and you get wiped, and then when you go back and watch the replay, or like you see the VOD on the evening and they like flew around and recorded you, and like, oh my fucking god, are you kidding me? There was a huge dip right there, we didn't know it was there. Or when you rotate in and you don't know what side is better to play on because you don't know the terrain. You have to know these things. Not necessarily all you guys as viewers, but the players. This is a plea to the players. Just take their time and figure out Miramar. Because there's so many so many games and so many fights I see teams take where I'm like, oh, you could have played that fight so much better had you known that that dip down there kind of allowed you to push around to the whatever thingy on the other side. Where they overpeaked or they did something that they wouldn't have had to. Circle down south again. SSG magneting the circles together with Tempo Storm. Cloud9 has the crossover. That's going to be rough, but they're doing pretty well at it, actually. Doing pretty well. Ruffy and Nerf still alive. They have to hold out P1E. Now Denial. Well, they got a 4th place, not 5th place there. Good job by them. Good job by them. P1E trying to push on in. SSG, they're trying to make their way on forward. Tempo, I would assume to see win this game. They're just playing. I mean, look at the way they're sitting right now. They have all the control in the universe, and they're going to get it. 4v1 or 4v2, I guess. One down. Oh. Okay, they do get it. 2 guys live in the end. They just, I mean, once Tempo Storm gets into late game, and they get to split out and take control, they do so well at it. What was interesting to me at the Faceit event, because Tempo Storm didn't do that well. I mean, it didn't do as well as they've been doing, obviously, in NPL. And I was trying to sit and figure out why that is. Because when you have a team that's doing so well in one region, and then when they get to play against other teams than what they're used to, they don't get things working. It's not that Tempo Storm is not a good team. It's just that what they're allowed to do in NPL, nobody allowed them to do at the Faceit event. Like the way they rotate, the way that they spread out in the late game circles, other teams was like, nope, you ain't gonna be doing that. They were forcing them to stick together for the most part, and that's just not where Tempo Storm, at least to me, excels at playing. Once they spread out, once they get circle control, once they get to pinpoint where everyone is and sort of pick and choose what they want to do, they're so good, they're so dangerous. But at Faceit event, I felt like every time they tried to do anything similar, there was always a team, always a player there, boom, to take out one of the solo splitting, and then all of a sudden, only 3 guys remaining. It just becomes extremely difficult to really do that. And also, it's one of those things, right? Where, I mean, for me, look at it this way: I was mainly hired by Cloud9 to help Cloud9 prepare for the Asian teams. They were honest about it and said, you know what, Toby, we don't know as much about the Asian teams as we would have wanted to. And I was like, that's fair. I mean, there's a billion different tournaments going on, and you have to focus on being a player. It makes perfect sense. And what do I do? Because, I mean, sure, I know a lot about the Asian leagues and teams, but when it comes to in-depth analysis and prep work, do I spend the most time prepping on the team that came first place, or do I spend the most time on prepping on the team that barely even qualified? You kind of put those two up against one another, right? So, for example, Crystal Luster, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into. I mean, sure, I knew how they rotated, when and where they rotated, but I didn't sit and go in depth with their play styles and all those things a whole lot, because I knew that if it comes down to it and Cloud9 and Crystal Luster had a 4v4, I think pretty confidently I could say that 70% of the time, if not more, Cloud9 would win. So it wasn't the biggest threat to me. And also, I don't want to throw all the info in their face, because it's limited how much you can absorb at one given moment, right? So you kind of have to pick and choose what you send on further forward, or at least in how much info you give at the same time. So for teams that's, like for the Asian teams, for all these teams that saw Tempo Storm as a big threat, they came in first seed in NA, and yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident that that is probably one of the teams that other teams prepared the most for in NA. Cloud9 is probably up there as well, because they have profiles like K-Mind and stuff that are famous players, so they will know. I mean, the Asian scene will know K-Mind from being a big streamer and a really good player, right, with a ton of highlight things on YouTube and stuff. They will know to look for him. But yeah, so it makes sense that teams were more prepared for Tempo Storm, and then some of these teams that people didn't really prep a whole lot for, OB Gaming and stuff, they got to sneak through and kind of just do their own thing. Yeah, that too, Patrick. That too, of course. I mean, it is the average, the overall level was higher than any league we've had. I mean, you can be honest about that. You couldn't get 16 European teams that with where the average level of play would be higher than what we saw at the Faceit event. Sure, there were some teams that were not that good, I think at least, at the Faceit event, but I mean, that's the regions for you. That's how it works. But that was game 2. We talked a lot about things that didn't really have a whole lot to do with the match. I'm sorry, but we'll get on with match number 3. Boink. There we go. Duckman's things. Yeah, Duckman's. Gotta love Duckman's. He was a fun guy. Fortunately, we didn't deal with him too much. There was one game where we had a really good position. It was actually up by water treatment, where Duckman's and his friends came up and ruined it for us. But it was fun. It was hilarious. I mean, I really enjoyed watching it, just because. Yeah, it's for me. Armory Gaming were one of those teams that you just could not really prep for. I mean, I thought I had prepped for them, but they just never did the same thing twice. Like, you never ever knew what to expect for them. You never knew. And Skeptic, I don't know. I didn't watch the Kickoff Cup this weekend. I'm going to be watching it over the next couple of days, but I didn't watch it, so I couldn't tell you. I've only seen like the results and the scoreboards, so I don't know. Game number 3 in its early stages. We see the circle pop here. Now, no more 2 teams in Valor. SSG, they have split it further down south. Big compounds. It's kind of interesting, the way that they like to play. Cloud9, they're back in Picado. We got 3 teams looting around the area of Lost. That's easily doable. Envy, they decided to go down. And now they're fighting Hwin. I guess Cloud9, they're going full on YOLO mode with Envy, and then they backed off. They lost a player. Profi got himself to finish off. It seems like... Nope, they didn't lose anyone. So Cloud9 survives that one. It's always fun with Cloud9 and Envy. There's a bit of rivalry going on between these 2 teams. I guess it's the team history. I don't know. Just every time they fight, there's like, oh, we have to win this one. Pretty funny. So much more tension. Picadors, they're coming in late again. Starting to see patterns emerge. Picadors have been late to pretty much all rotations so far. Voxic playing for them. For those of you guys who know him from Pittsburgh Knights in Phase 1. He has been picked up over there. I'm excited to see PL as well. So many team changes recently. Will be very interesting to watch along. Now the circle shifts out east. And, I mean, this is pretty much a repeat area, at least, of where we were in the previous game. You can see SSG, they're kind of doing the same thing they did, where they came down, scouted, went up, and took the compound up here. They want to do the same thing, but Tempestorm is down there saying, no, boys, ain't gonna happen. Tempestorm was sitting down here in the previous game and pushed on over. But this time around, they just got them beat to it. And that's going to be so annoying, because Tempestorm is one of those teams that, sure, they value good positioning, but if they know they have a team right behind them, they would rather not go in and take that position and take out the team that is on the edge and then move. Because they, when Tempestorm is 4 guys up, they're really difficult to deal with. I mean, they're really dangerous. So will be fun. It'll be fun to see how they're planning on moving. Should the circle go like up here, for example, are they gonna stay to fight off this? Or are they gonna move immediately? They actually, okay, so now they do move. They heard that X and SSG, they were fighting. They're like, you know what? Not gonna be worth it. Let's just rotate on in instead. So they go far around the edge. They do have 2 bikes. Make that 3 bikes actually. No, and 2 guys on 1 bike, I guess. But they have bikes and then they suicide. Yeah, that's also an option. Same as that. This is probably what I would call over-rotating. They tried to go around the edge, Tempestorm. I mean, I see what they do. This is a northern circle. They know E United is sitting in this compound, so there's no point in scouting here to move up, because it's going to take too much time. And by the time that they left, there's a big ridge up here. I don't think you can see the hilltop from here. I'm pretty sure you cannot see it. But once the circle pops, you can see they've already determined what they want to do. They want to wrap east around, which makes sense. But if you look at the previous 2 circles, this circle shifted out east. That's going to force for all the teams that were sitting north, like all the teams that were sitting here, when the circle goes out east, they will try and wrap around and get in on this side. That's the only thing that makes sense. You would never see a team coming from the north wrap back down to where the center was before, because then you know you're gonna run into the they're gonna run into where all the cluster is, right? So all these players you'd assume to see go around this way. As you see BMG moves down, I would assume the Laserius, they go over this way as well. Ghost, they're fighting off with the Nile, so they go up. Yep, you see Laserius, they come in from the top east, right? So when Tempo Storm decides to move out here, they should know for a fact that there are going to be quite a few players in this area. And they are. Because there isn't a whole lot of other stuff you can go for. So when they're up here, I mean, the circle is already closing, but it's closing extremely slowly. So maybe stop here and look over. If you want to cross the road, you have a dip up here you can stop on. Stop there to scout forward. Because look at how thinly spread Ghost is. They're sitting 2-2. Shrimsy is trying to cross over. Balak gets down 1. And at this point, honestly, because they're fighting up here as well, they could probably just full on pull up on this and take the fight. But they're rotating very thinly spread. And there's just, I mean, you have Dre and the other guys rotating straight through a ongoing 4v4 fight. And Semper dies as well. So rough rotation. Tempo. Should probably have called it earlier, but it's just like when you're driving and people shooting and chaos. It just becomes yeah, really really difficult to do anything. J-Sank makes his way on over, gets himself 1 kill on an endemic player. Wasn't prepared for that one. Then Circle send us up. P1E sitting pretty well in it. Cloud9 up against Rum on the north side. Fight it off. I can't see who's winning. Looks like Nerf is the last guy alive against 3. Not optimal at all. BMG making their rotation on in Basher and Carbon. The Nerf still alive somehow. Is Nerf actually winning this? What? He won that fight. 1v3. Knocked. Waldo, microfight, loss. And Godspeed. He took out all of them. He 1v4'd them. Good job, Nerf. Good job indeed. Nice rotation from, I like the 2-2 split from P1E. They scout forward, they see it's available, they don't want to let E United push down around, and they go up and take the position aggro. They are sitting 2-way split, but they can still play around it. Now they did lose to a player's lamp, will not be able to get rest. Ooh, is that a risky rest? Yes it is, they all go down. Oh, and no, Treats survives, okay. So Laserius gets a push in, Purdy Curdy. That's the shoot to kill guys from phase 1. And BMG wins it. I don't know this BMG team. What does BMG stand for? Teams. BMG. PMG. Oh, we got all of them in here now. That's confusing. On multiple pages. Blue Martini Gaming? Is that actually the name? Are you allowed to promote alcohol in that way? I didn't know that. In Denmark, you aren't allowed to promote alcohol. Or cigarettes. Blue Martini Gaming. That's funny. I guess they're a contenders team that made it up from relegations. Unless if Blue Martini is actually the orc name. That'd be surprising. I feel like there's gotta be some sort of copywriting on the name. Oh, it's oxymorons? Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Makes sense, makes sense. Blue Martini Gaming. Okay, so we're back on Erangel. And this plane is a little more forgiving than the previous one was. And for whatever reason, Envy and Picador is right back at it. Fighting again. Huh. It's interesting to me. Okay, so you guys gotta tell me. You guys gotta tell me. We can spend like a second or two talking about this. You know that? I mean, we can actually draw it up like this. I'm pretty sure they actually all loot inside of. Oh, that's wrong. How do I do this? H just there you go. I'm pretty sure that they all loot in here. So what is better? Like this is where Ghost Gaming is, right? G Ghost Gaming. They do it here. You have E United. They have one guy in shelter and one in prison. Do you really need to loot here? I mean, all a farm is open. Of course, you don't want to share a farm with two teams, but why fight for this? What is the value in this area? I mean, you can see the way they're landing. They're full on committed to it. What is the value of that over all of farm or 3 block or I call it suicide compound because I always die when I go there. Easiest rotation for melee? Sure, I mean, you have one boat here. That's an easy rotation. But if you loot here and farm, you have a boat here as well. I would argue that that's evenly good for melee. I mean, you could even do 2 guys here, 1 here, 1 looting there. Then you both have the bridge and you have the boat. And there's also a boat down here, I think. So you have a boat here, you have a boat here, and you have a boat here. And yeah. You know that Balog never leaves. He never leaves. He always stays inside of Milta. I just don't understand what the idea of fighting for this is. I mean, game 1, sure, okay, they landed there, but even when they parachute in and they see the guys coming down next to them, just one of them back off. A bit easier to rotate north. If you have farm and your initial rotation is up here, and you secure the hard spawn, there's a hard spawn vehicle there, I think. Or is it here? I don't remember. There's a hard spawn somewhere there. You can fly for vehicles up here. You can even do 1 guy farm, 1 up here, 1 down here, and 1 here. Again, you know, Ghost, they don't leave Milta. They don't even loot yellows. They stay down here. Because they have a team to worry about on the east side, right? E United, they never go south of shelter. I don't know. It's just interesting to me that they care to fight for this 2 games in a row. I mean, sure, there's plenty of games to be played, but I guess I have to talk to Voxic or one of the venerated or one of the Envy players about it, because they go down here to loot anyway. So yeah, I don't know. But circle goes east. Let's just zoom it out a bit and see. Wildcard, they're going north for vehicles. Didn't want to go all the way down. Sometimes we've seen Ratio Edge go across there in the PEL. Well, that is of course not the case here. Lipovka, there's no designated Lipovka team, so BMG will go in there, force out Lasarius. They'll go back up to the mansion split. Circle goes centered up. Oh, I have a feeling this one is going to go lumber. These circles always go down towards lumber. Nerf and Quinn and Profi and K are split 2-2. Interesting that they've split it up like this. Previously it was K-Mind and Lopes that played together, and then Nerf and Profi would play together. But I guess it's because Quinn is the new one on the team and Nerf is the in-game leader. So when he's closer to him, it's easier to arrange, I mean, how he's supposed to move around with the team, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just this random coincidence that there's 2-2 split like this. Oops, sorry. Circle goes out east. Oh, that's an interesting one. Next one has to exclude, at least if possible, this area here. So it won't hard shift out that far. Oh, wildcard. Interesting rotation. How are you planning on getting in? Are you going liquid? Oh, Kingwin dip? Yes, they are. I like this rotation. Look at this one. Look at this one from wildcard. They have all the info. They can just drive and look east all the time. P1E, they know they're up there. They don't want to force it. They have to cross over, so either they have to go down south. I know there are people in Milta still, because they can hear the vehicles from farm. So either they have to cross up, and when you're sitting in farm, you know you're down in the dip, so you can't really scout either garage houses, and if they don't like playing from the lumber mill side, which I can completely understand, then their only call is to go north around. Big circle around here, 2 my stops up here to scout further forward, see if there's anyone Elmo, see if there's anyone inside of the warehouse. They see Lopes in the vehicle, they hear SSG shooting, and they continue all the way around. Really nice rotation. And they get to beat denial to it as well. Really, really good rotation from Wildcard there. I like that. That is like a picture-perfect rotation. Sure, Kingwin Dip isn't really the best place to sit, but I mean, with this circle, if they can clear their entire backside from here, then there's pretty much nowhere anyone can be pushing them in from. Although, as I say that, Endemic just full-on YOLO crashes into them. But they have the upper hand here no matter what. Look at how many kills they're getting. At least knocks. I mean, they just took 2 4-man teams down to a 1 and a 2-man. That's pretty damn impressive. And then, of course, as we all know to expect, Lumber Mill is chaos. It always is. I hate Lumber Mill. It's the worst area on a Erangel. I'm really not a big fan of it at all. I wouldn't mind a complete rework. If they were gonna change, like if they were to change anything on a Erangel, then take this whole hill formation here and do something else with it. It's very unique and it's very interesting. It just does. I don't like it. I do not like it. Jason pushing around by himself. Okay. Well, we'll know to keep an eye on him. He's solo snaking his way on forward. PMG won the previous game, so of course he wants to get some placement points if he can. There is 9 teams left. With 23 players in, there's a chance that he can do something. Circle goes hard north. I told you, wildcard, smart rotation. You never know to expect these things, but that was pretty funny. Cloud9 got picked apart from all sides. Luke all by himself. Simplicity has a nice position down by the ridge line here. Jason is just backtracking United. Stab, why are you running into... I guess you needed loot. 24 minutes into the game. I was gonna say, why the hell are you running inside of prison? That's like suicidal when there's a team on the hills. Jason's just chilling. Wait, is he inside the cave? There's like a little cave dip that you can sit inside. I'm pretty sure he might be sitting in there. Or just hiding on the rocks. Wildcard tried to push across. He's just, I mean, the fact that E United is taking so much control in, the fact that E United is taking so much control. Wait, did he get shot at? He did get shot at. So, 2my spotted him. Look at this. 2my spotted him. But the other guys didn't because Pistola Time was in a car when it happened. That is so lucky. Also, it can be difficult to really know where the shots are going. But the fact that E United plays this circle so aggressively and they'd never look behind them, that just helps him so much. Wildcard try to cross. There's like a little dip down here. They try to take control of that. Doesn't work. Pride by himself. Simplicity gets wiped. Jason chills, moves further forward. Lasarius is somehow still 4 guys alive. I don't know even how many kills do Lasarius have at this point. I haven't seen them fight a whole lot, but they did clear their backside, of course, with Maluk and all those guys up there. Pride goes down, full on fight. Jason just chilling. He's not in a hurry. He's gonna let. Oh my god, 1v2. Come on, Jason. I believe. He tags stab. Gets 1. Gets 2. This would be the funniest. Oh, he goes down. That would be the best solo snake win. Especially if they get 2 in a row. But honestly, let's go back. So, BMG were part of the chaos, right? EXG, they crash. All dies except for Jason. Rum comes down, he kills 1. Runs in blue, gets inside the circle. Here, at 45 players alive, Jason is a solo, and he gets 2nd place. And that's pretty damn impressive. so that was game number 4. It was an interesting one for sure. Really, really interesting. But that is going to be it for this video. So those of you guys watching on YouTube, see you all in the next one.